All right, pull up a chair, honey. I'm Maggie, and today we're heading underground. Not in a spooky way, no ghosts, I promise. I'm talking about Grandma's root cellar, that cool, dark little room where food stayed fresh long before fridges came along. Now, if you're picturing a secret dungeon full of turnips, you're not too far off. Let me tell you the story. Back when my grandma was a young whippersnapper, say in the 1930s, there was no hum of a refrigerator in the kitchen, no clicking light when you opened a door, just a cellar dug right into the earth. And let me tell you, that dirt did some magic. A root cellar was basically nature's fridge. Cool in summer, not freezing in winter. It was the place to keep potatoes, onions, carrots, apples, jars of jam, and the occasional bottle of something medicinal. Everything in there smelled like earth, metal lids, and good old survival. Now, you didn't just toss stuff in there willy-nilly. Oh no, Grandma had rules. You stacked your potatoes low. Onions? Kept separate so they wouldn't make everyone else cry. Apples up high so they didn't get mushy. Some folks even had shelves made of wood slats to let the air move around. The secret was in the temperature and the moisture. Most root cellars stayed around 50 degrees Fahrenheit with just the right amount of humidity. Not too dry, or your carrots would shrivel like a raisin in church. Not too wet, or you'd be dealing with moldy beets, and nobody wants that. The whole thing was usually under the house or dug into a shady hillside. My grandma's was just a short walk from the back porch. We kids were scared stiff of it. There was a creaky wooden door and those old wooden steps that moaned louder than a soap opera. But that's where all the good stuff lived. Pickled green beans, sweet pears from last fall, and a 5-pound sack of flour so old it might have remembered the First World War. And get this, those ladies back then didn't waste a single crumb. If they had 5 apples, they'd find a way to stretch them into applesauce, a pie, and maybe a slice of dried apple for your lunch tin. You didn't just run to the store when you were out of something. You made do. You looked in the root cellar, scratched your head, and made dinner anyway. And somehow, it always tasted better. Part of that magic was the slowness of it all. Today, we microwave a biscuit and call it done. Back then, making biscuits meant flour from the root cellar, lard from the pantry, and milk from the morning's milking. I'll tell you, those biscuits had character. Now here's the funny thing. The root cellar wasn't just for food. It was also a conversation spot. You'd head down to grab some rutabagas and come back knowing who's expecting twins, who got a new pie safe, and who was courting who at church last Sunday. So yeah, the root cellar kept food fresh, but it also kept stories alive. It was like a cold storage and a gossip circle all rolled into one. And honestly, I miss it. I mean, yes, I love my fridge. I'm not trying to go full Little House on the Prairie over here, but there's something so grounded about walking into a place that smells like onions and damp earth, and knowing you have everything you need to feed your family. That's what I'm trying to hold on to. That's why I love vintage recipes. They take me back, not just to the flavors, but to the feeling of cooking with care. Now, here's where things get tricky. If you've ever tried one of Grandma's handwritten recipes, you know it's like trying to decode a secret message. Use a knob of butter, bake in a moderate oven, add flour until it feels right. What does any of that even mean? I once made a cake that came out looking like a hockey puck because I didn't know moderate meant 350 degrees. And don't get me started on measurements. A gill, a teacup, a butter the size of an egg. I mean, come on, was Grandma also a magician? That's why I made something for you. It's called the Vintage Cooking Cheat Sheet. It's a free little guide that clears up all the confusion. Old measurements, weird ingredients, oven talk, you name it, I covered it. I even included my notes from trying these recipes myself, burns and all. So if you've ever stood in your kitchen staring at an old recipe thinking, what in tarnation is a salt spoon? This cheat sheet is for you. You can find the link in the description or just head to ClassicFork.com/cheat. Trust me, it'll save you a lot of head scratching. And who knows, maybe one day you'll build your own little root cellar. Or at least stash your apples in a cardboard box in the basement. That's a start, right? Thanks for spending time with me, friend. Now go give Grandma's old recipes a second life. And don't forget, keep your onions separate and your butter the size of an egg. See you next time. And check out that cheat sheet. Your vintage kitchen will thank you.